Good morning. Actually, let me rephrase that. Good miracle morning to all of you, tribe. This is Michelle Norris, and I am really excited to talk to my friend Hal Elrod this morning. And let me give you his quick bio in case you are not familiar with this amazing man. Hal Elrod is on a mission to elevate the consciousness of humanity one morning at a time. As one of the highest rated keynote speakers in America, creator of one of the fastest growing and most engaged online communities in existence, and author of one of the highest rated best-selling books in the world, The Miracle Morning, which has been translated into 27 languages and is practiced daily by over 500,000 people in 70 countries. So he is doing exactly that. Thank you, Hal, for being here. I so appreciate it.
Michelle, it's so good to see you. I think last time I saw you was across the dinner table at Arlo Gray, I think was the restaurant.
Yeah, it was. It's way too long.
Yeah.
We need to do that again. How's Ursula and the kids?
Good. They are in the other room doing homeschool right now. So, yeah. It's been obviously it's a very interesting time that we're in right now, but lots of extra family time, which is one of the many blessings that I think are coming out of this experience.
Oh yeah, I hear you. It's been really crazy here to just see all the things that have changed. Like you go out and everybody just like has this clearance, which doesn't happen in Austin. So it's really weird to see this. So yeah, it's an interesting time for sure.
Yeah, it's also interesting that there's a clearance, but there's also a connection. So, we go for a walk every day in the neighborhood, and there's clearance, but immediate like, hey, we're in this together, right? Like, it's the only time in existence that I'm aware of that every person in the world, for the most part, what's going on in their head, right? Like, what they're thinking and what's on their mind and what they're focused on, and a little bit what life is like for them. We're all sharing this time in a way we never have before.
This is true. I think the only time we probably shared some similarity is during 9/11, and particularly for the United States, obviously.
And that's what I was going to say is that was, right. East Coast, especially United States, but even then the rest of the world, it was kind of like, and it didn't change our lifestyle quite the same way. Yeah, you got scanned at the airport, you know what I mean, right? But like, it was just, it didn't change necessarily daily life. But you're right. My dad and I were talking yesterday, and he said the same thing, that 9/11 is the closest thing he can think of that we shared. But
yeah, for sure. I remember. I know that a lot of businesses shut down that day, but they didn't stay shut down. Not all businesses. So it was really an interesting time. So if you're joining us and you have any questions for Hal, please put them in the comments and we will try to get him to answer those. And then of course, if you and Susan, she's been like so excited about this. She's been posting it everywhere that you're going to be on. And I have her comment down there. I freaking love savers. And so anyway, she's been so excited about you coming on. So and she's a really good friend of mine. So
hi, Susan.
Yeah, wanted to say hello to her. So if you're joining us, please say hello, tell us where you're from in the comments, and ask a question if you'd like. And so I have to set my day straight in the morning. So what is the first thing that you begin with in the morning?
So the first thing I begin with when I wake up is 15 to 30 minutes of what I call love and light, which is I literally just lay there in bed, but awake. I try not to fall back to sleep, which sometimes will happen, but and I just feel good. I feel like, I don't know if it's the most important thing in life or the purpose of life, but I think it's right up there with that, in that we just want to feel good. Like, why do we do anything that we do? We do it to feel good. And I think that if you can get to a place where you choose to feel good before you do whatever it is that you're doing, right? And so therefore your feelings, your emotional well-being, your inner world is not dependent on your outer world, right? But you just choose that. Michael Singer in The Untethered Soul called it the vow of happiness. He said, most of us, we say we want to be happy, but only if you dive deeper, it's, well, I'm only happy if all of the things go according to plan and my expectations are met. And right. So, it's like, well, do you really want to be happy? Are you committed to it? Or you You only want to under the right conditions, right? So
Right.
the vow of unconditional happiness. So yeah, I start my day by just laying there, just feeling good, feeling happy. And I've gotten to the point where I used to have to think of things that made me happy to generate those feelings. And after doing it for, I don't know how long now, years, now I know how to just feel good immediately and just smile and just feel great. And so that's how I begin and end. That's kind of how I bookend every day.
That's awesome. I love that. So, that's a interesting thing that you said, like bookend your day, because that's a similar thing that I do. So, you have a really incredible story. Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah. I guess that's a broad, my whole story. But I'll share with you some of the high points or low points, depending on how you look at it. When I was 20 years old, I was a top salesperson for Cutco Cutlery. I sold Cutco kitchen knives, in-home presentations. And at age 20, I gave a speech at an event one night, and driving home that night from the speech, my car was hit head on by a drunk driver at 70 miles an hour. And I spun off the drunk driver. The car behind me crashed into my door at 70 miles an hour, and my body was crushed. And instantaneously, I broke 11 bones, and I began bleeding to death. And that night, I died at the scene of the accident. I was clinically dead with no heartbeat, wasn't breathing for 6 minutes. And they revived me, medevac, took a helicopter to the hospital. I spent 6 days in a coma, flatlined twice more. And when I came out of the coma, they said I would never walk again. And my mindset was, I will walk again. But what was interesting is it wasn't this delusional optimism. Maybe it partly was, but it was combined with unconditional acceptance, where I told my dad, if I never walk again, I'll be the happiest person that you've ever seen in a wheelchair, Dad, because I'm in a wheelchair either way. I'm not going to let my circumstances, my outer world, dictate my inner world, right? And I said, but I've accepted that worst case scenario, so it has no power over me. I have no fear around it. I'm completely at peace with the worst case scenario. I think for all of us right now, or at any time, that's a really powerful, valuable place to be, is if you can accept the worst case scenario and make peace with it, then it has no power over you. And now you have freedom, emotional freedom, to focus on what it is that you want and the feelings you want to experience. And so I said, Dad, the second possibility is that I will walk again. And I don't even know if it's possible. The doctors say it's not. However, all of my energy is going into what I want, because now that I've accepted what I don't want, that worst case scenario, I'm at peace with it. All my energy, I'm thinking about walking. I'm focusing on walking. I'm praying about it. I'm dwelling on that. I'm talking about it. I'm imagining it. And Michelle, there's a lot of science behind the mind-body connection, but the doctors came in a week later, 3 weeks after I was found dead, after I broke my leg in 2 pieces, broke my pelvis in 3 places. The doctor said, we don't know how to explain this, Hal, but your body is healing so quickly. We're going to let you take your first step in therapy today. So it went from never walking again to 3 weeks later, which even for me, I was thinking I was like a year off from walking. I didn't think it was going to happen that soon. Wow. But I took my first step, and the rest is kind of history. I went on to get back to normal life, if you will. And then 3 years ago, I'm just turned 40, so I was 37 years old. I was diagnosed with a very rare and aggressive form of cancer, acute lymphoblastic leukemia, which in adults has a very grim survival rate. It's a 10 to 30% survival rate. So if you're a pessimist, that's a 70 to 90% chance I was being told that I was going to die. And, at the time my daughter was 7, my son was 4, to have the thoughts of, they're telling me I'm most likely going to die, and my kids are going to not have a dad, and all, a lot is going on. However, I made the same commitment decision, if you will, that I made when I had my car accident. And I told my wife, I said, the day I was diagnosed with cancer and given these grim odds, I said, sweetheart, I promise you, I can't predict the future, but I promise you I will be the happiest and the most grateful I've ever been while I lead us through what will be undoubtedly the most difficult time in our lives. And once again, I was on death's doorway quite a few times. I was in the ER. I almost died. But the doctors were blown away by how quickly I was in remission, and I beat cancer. And 3 years later, I'm in remission, and knock on wood, plan on being there for many, many decades to come. And the lesson, there's a lot of lessons that came out of this, but the biggest lesson that I learned that is important for all of us right now more than ever is don't invest your time in focusing on what's out of your control, right? Don't invest your time in that. Yes, be aware of it, be prepared, prepare for the worst case scenario or accept it, but don't live there, right? You accept the worst case scenario and then you put the other 99% of your conscious awareness and attention and energy into what is in your control. And more importantly, what's in your control right now? Like, don't worry about tomorrow. Again, give it enough thought to think, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do these things, but don't worry excessively over the unknown future. Accept what is out of your control and focus your energy on one day at a time. What can I do today to help myself? What can I do today to help the people in my life that I love and help other people, and keep it really simple and really minimal.
I could not agree with you more. That's, there's just so many people with so many different things. Susan, first she said, I have chills. And then she said, not like sick chills, God's plan chills. Anyway. But I think, there's just so many people that are definitely getting caught up in the what if this and a what if that and that's all, fine to contemplate. But like you said, don't live there. Yeah. That's, and I love that because that's exactly how I try to do things. And the thing is I've been pretty positive through this entire process. And, it's not been easy for Paleo FX considering that we moved an almost 8,000 attendee event from April to July. And so, and there have been moments where I'm like, oh crap, we actually might not make it out of here on this. All right. And then I'm just like, okay, I can accept that might happen, but I know everything that I can control right now and moving forward is I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that doesn't happen. And so, I'm of the mindset, allow yourself for the few minutes to, okay, and then regroup.
And let me share a logistical strategy for everybody right now that's been really helpful for me, because it's very easy, and I've been feeling overwhelmed. We're all going through this together, and it's like, the uncertainty can be overwhelming, the unknown, or the things that like are like your event being canceled. These can consume us. And so what I've done recently is I have an hour scheduled every day to plan for the worst case scenario. So every morning from 7 to 8, after I've done my meditation, my miracle morning, I've gotten in a good state of mind. I've done some reading. I've written for an hour and done some creating, right? So like I've got a few hours of like really prime time, but then I have an hour scheduled to actually plan and prepare, right? We were doing this before this hit. Like we had food weeks, like we were way ahead of this because my wife was doing this. But the point is, give yourself 30 to 60 minutes a day to focus on this in whatever way you need to that's proactive to plan or prepare for the worst. Maybe that means pulling some cash out of the bank. Maybe that, right? You know what I mean? Buying some extra food. We're going to probably buy a generator for our house. I thought if for some reason we lose power, well, all this food we bought in our 2 refrigerators and freezers that's going to be thousands of dollars of food that we lose. So we're going to look at getting a generator. So have time scheduled to prepare and plan, right? Be prepared. And that way, if you have worries throughout the day, write it on the list and then get it out of your head and go, okay, I know I've got 30 or 60 minutes tomorrow morning when I can dive into my worries or you know what I mean? Like you can give yourself some time to focus on that. And that way it gives you permission to live free the rest of the day, to go to sleep at night going, I don't have to worry about it right now. It's in my schedule to think about, to plan for, or to even worry about, tomorrow.
Yeah, I again totally agree with you on that. Tell me, what do you think if a person could change one thing to start seeing results right away, what would you recommend that one thing be?
Yeah, I'm biased, but my life's work has become this thing that I call the miracle morning, and it started out as my morning ritual back in 2008. In fact, it's so interesting. I've been thinking for the last few years about the next economic crash, and I thought I'm really going to be able to help people because that's where the Miracle Morning was born from. It wasn't a book idea. I was in 2008, I was struggling financially. I had lost, my house was in foreclosure. I had lost over half of my income. I was depressed. I was in a really at the lowest point in my life. And it's just to keep a long story short, a series of events led me to just start Googling, like, what are the daily routines and daily rituals of the world's most successful people, most fulfilled people, most, right, you name it. And I kept coming across morning routines and morning rituals, but I, like many people, was not a morning person. So I'm like, no. Like, next, where's the articles on the people that sleep until 7? Like, I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. right? And I saw enough of these articles that I finally decided, one caught my attention. I dove in, and it opened me up to this. And this is really the direct answer to your question, is that how you start your day, your morning ritual or lack thereof, is arguably the single most important factor in your quality of life. And the reason is this, is how you start your day sets the tone, sets your mindset, sets the direction, sets the energy for how you live your day, or I should say, who you are going into your day in order to create the day that you want. And if you start every day like most people do, which first is hitting the snooze button a few times, which is by definition procrastination. You're literally starting your day by going, I'm a procrastinator. I don't have the discipline to get out of bed in the morning, right? And then you go right into like turning on your phone and searching, scrolling Facebook or turning on the news or checking your email, right? Like you go straight into stress. And then once you kick in once that stress hormone is released, cortisol, right? It's harder to get rid of. Instead, starting your day with peaceful, purposeful, intentional time to focus on yourself, calm your nervous system. The Miracle Morning is made up of 6 practices, and it's an acronym, SAVERS, SAVERS. The first S is for silence. So that's starting your day with meditation and or prayer, right? And that's a way to, obviously there's scientific benefits. There's 1,400 plus scientific studies on the benefits of meditation, not just the spiritual benefits, but physical, biological, intellectual, emotional. So starting your day with that silence allows you to calm your nervous system, lower your cortisol levels, get really centered, and really access, your deepest wisdom or the wisdom of God or whatever you believe in. The A in SAVERS is for affirmations. These are written statements, not like cheesy, like I'm amazing. And I don't subscribe to that form of affirmation so much as written statements that articulate what you have committed to think and focus on and do to create an optimum life for yourself. Those are affirmations for me. It's reminding you of what matters most. The V is for visualization. The E is for exercise, right? Doing even 5 minutes of jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, going for a walk in the morning. You don't have to go to the gym, but getting some, in fact, you can't go to the gym right now, but doing some movement, right? And then the R is for reading, and read books that help you in the area you need most help with right now. I decided right now that I've got a few different books that I'm reading, but one of the main ones is Conscious Loving, because I am married and right now I am in quarantine with my wife. And I thought there is no relationship more important right now for me to really, really nurture than my relationship with my wife, because that's going to spill down to the relationship with our kids and so on and so forth. And my quality of life during quarantine, right? And her life as well. The final S is for scribing, which is essentially writing or journaling. And the power, I often will move that to the front, by the way, in case anyone's wondering, like, do you have to do these in order of SAVERS? No, you can do them in whatever order you want. If you're tired and you need to wake up, start with some exercise, right? But I often scribe first when I'm in a stressful time, because all those thoughts that I wake up with, all the worries, things that I just, maybe nightmares I had, whatever, I wake up and I just start journaling, getting everything out of my head and on paper, all my concerns, all my fears, all my worries. And that scribing practice, doing it first, it releases everything. And now I have space to get the most value from the other 5 practices. So that, to me, if you want to change your life, change your morning.
Amen. I love all of that. That's so interesting. I definitely do affirmations. I do my affirmations in the morning, and I do them in the evening before I go to bed. And the way that I do my affirmations is being grateful in this moment for whatever it is. So all of my affirmations start with I receive and believe and I'm grateful for. And
Mm.
that's how I do all my affirmations. I do that in the morning and I do that in the evening right before I go to bed, because then for me, it solidifies and cuts off all of the negative, whatever I've heard all day long, or anything. We don't watch TV, so I don't see any of that kind of stuff. And I
Yeah.
don't watch news because I just, yeah.
Smart.
But you will hear stuff because you're on the internet or you're doing work, and people's, you're getting people's energy too. I'm definitely an empath, so I feel people's energy for sure if I go out anywhere. And it just, at the end of the day, it kind of caps it all off and shuts that part off and sets my sleep up for me to be able to do that too. And because I know the one thing that I figured out was that whatever I did last before I went to sleep ends up in my dreams and ends up in my psyche, and I run through it. So I had to stop watching any kind of TV,
Yeah.
stop watching any kind of like any scary movies or anything like that, because
Yeah.
I've had what's his name, Mike Myers show up in my dream. So gotta shut that off because I can't sleep.
Yeah. No, that's crucial. I'm glad you said that. I've people asked, have you ever write The Miracle Evening? And I'm like, yeah, that's a book I should write someday. But it is so important. Right there is a different value. How you start your day sets the tone and the context for the rest of the day. But how you end your day, right, sets the tone and the context for the quality of the rest that you get and that you give to your brain. And so, yeah, to your point, ending with good and that's where that love and light that I do right before bed too, kind of the same thing. Ending with feelings of gratitude and joy, and you name the positive emotion, is so important. And part of it is if you have that time scheduled to worry the next day, it helps you go, I don't need to worry right now. Like I've got that in my schedule. There's some time to worry about that stuff. And right now, because that's the thing is at night before bed, your only objective is to sleep. That's it. That's it. And so be really clear and intentional about that.
I completely agree. And I love that. I need to do that, is that 1 hour a day of preparing for the worst case scenario. I need to be doing that. I really hadn't actually thought about that. And, but that does give me an opportunity to let that go for everything else that I need and want to do during the day to get done, and to be able to do the stuff like we're doing right now with people. Because right now our whole thing has been just really trying to help people get through this and stay in positive place, because like just your whole story, the fact that you were able to have this miraculous type of healing, it really speaks to the science of the power of our brain and our mindset in our health. And I think there's just so many people that don't really truly understand that when we focus on the thing, and this is what the problem is, that so many times we get so focused on the stuff that we don't want, that what you focus on grows. And so when you focused on, I'm not married to the outcome, I'm okay, I'm whatever, but I am going to walk. I am going to walk. I am going to walk. And then I am going to live. I am going to live. And it's so powerful. And that's one of the things, is just being able to do this with people and help them through this process. It's one of the reasons I was like, hey, dude, we need to do this, because I know this is stuff that people need right now, and to get this information out about, staying in this place.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I'm not very scientific. I read a lot. I'll read the science, but my brain doesn't remember those details. So, but here's what I believe in layman's terms from my experience is our body has, what is it, like 40 trillion cells or something like that, right? Don't quote me. We have a lot of cells, right? In the trillions and the trillions, right? It's more than the national debt, but it's multiple trillions.
This is all over with. Anyway, go ahead.
It's more now. That's my hope. I hope the national debt doesn't exceed the amount of cells we have in our body, right? That's the goal. But that's when it's trouble. But no, but we have trillions of cells, and our health is the health of our cells. And when I was told I would never walk again, this is my layman's explanation of the mind-body connection. Think of, we have trillions of cells, and the science has proven that what we think affects our biology, right? If you are stressful, right, certain hormones are created. If you're happy, certain hormones are created in your body, right? And so if whatever you tell your body to do through feeling more than thought, right? The thought usually promotes the feeling, but the feeling, your body does it. So your cells are not, right? They take marching orders from you and your thoughts and feelings. So most people, if they're given a diagnosis for cancer, like, hey, you're probably going to die, they usually live in fear. Their thoughts and feelings are ones of fear and self-doubt. And, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And I believe that our cells are like, oh, okay, I guess we're going to die then, right? And same thing when I was told I would never walk again, instead of saying, I'm never going to walk, I'm never going to walk, I'm never going to walk, I went, I'm going to walk, I'm going to walk, I'm going to walk. And my belief and the experience I had is that my cells were like, oh, we're going to walk again? I guess we better get to work repairing your body. I mean, for it to happen as fast as it did, there's no other way to explain it. And then same thing with the cancer. Like, I'm like, no, I'm going to heal. And every day I affirmed, I am committed to healing myself from this cancer and living to be 100 plus years old alongside my wife and 2 children, no matter what. There is no other option. I affirmed it over and over and over. And for those of you listening right now, how you can apply that now is every day I affirm my immune system right now being strong and bulletproof and no virus, right? Nothing being able to affect it. And so, and I meditate on that feeling of just health inside of me. So I'd encourage all of you, right? Keep your immune system strong, and fear and stress, right? Those will take your immune system down faster than anything. So will lack of sleep. So really utilizing these practices we're talking about, there's a physiological benefit of strengthening your immune system and a psychological benefit of actually feeling good, because you realize that it's not about what's happening around you and that's out of your control. You've got to accept that fully and then focus on whatever is in your control, and your inner world is your opportunity and your responsibility to manage.
You know what? So I was looking for this because I had this written down because I was at a talk, and Dr. Christopher Shade has been a speaker at PillowFX, and he had said this in a talk actually at another event that he and I both spoke at, the Academy of Regenerative Practices. And he said, humans are the only organism that can have a thought and change their entire chemical makeup in their body.
Wow, that's powerful.
So I was like, holy cow. I mean, like, I was just like, what? Like,
yeah.
And it totally is, you're right. It's like your brain talks to your entire body, and it actually does everything your brain tells it to do.
Yep.
Tell your brain, you've got immunity. Tell your brain you're free from cancer. Tell your brain. I mean, like, it's like so super powerful how much, and I can't remember what, I've heard the numbers, so I'm not going to even guess, but that, like, we use like a really small percentage of our brain power, and that if we actually used our entire brain power, like, we would like all be superhuman. It would be kind of like really crazy just thinking about that kind of power, that you were able to put that kind of energy into your body and heal in such a miraculous and quick way. So it's amazing.
Michelle, please, after the call, make a note, text me that quote and who it's by. I would love to have that in my
Absolutely, I will.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so powerful. And I'm so appreciative of the work that you've done, and then getting that out to the world, because it's so needed, and especially right now, we just need it so right now. And anyhow, I know that I had another question for you. I've got them all written down, so I'm looking real quick. So I
take your time.
So one thing I did want to ask you is, what time do you wake up in the morning?
Great question. I'll answer it this way. So the first miracle morning I ever did, and it wasn't called the miracle morning, that didn't come for a couple of months of practicing it. But the first time I woke up early for a morning ritual, my first day, I woke up at 5 a.m. instead of my normal wake up time of 6 a.m. And after I did that for about a week, I went, this is so valuable. Like, I am getting, this was back 2008. Again, the economy was crashed. And I got, this is so valuable. I want more of this. So I backed it up to 4 a.m. the next day thinking, oh, this is crazy. But I felt even more energized and I loved that time. And then I backed it up to 3:45 a.m. and then 3:30 a.m. This was 12 years ago. And I do want to mention this. I get up a little later now. I'll get to that in a second. But the reason, so I was doing this morning routine, and all I did is every morning it was written in my schedule as personal development, morning ritual, something like that, right? And after 2 months of doing this practice in 2008, after the economy had crashed, and I kind of had crashed with it, I doubled my income in 2 months of the first day of doing this. And I went to my wife. I'm like, sweetheart, our income is twice what it was 2 months ago when I started this practice. It feels like a miracle. And she goes, it's your miracle morning. Mm-hmm. And I go, yeah, I love that. So I started writing it as Miracle Morning. But again, it wasn't a book idea, right? But then I shared it with other people, my coaching clients at the time. And almost all of them went from, I'm not a morning person, to, oh my gosh, like it works. Like it's, I'm having the best week in my sales career. I'm reading again. I'm exercising again, so on and so forth. So I've personally practiced it for 12 years. And after I got cancer, and I was trying to assess what in my life could have caused this cancer, because I believe that the degree of responsibility we take for our life, ourselves, our circumstances determines the degree of power that we hold to change it, right? A lot of people. So that's I think an important lesson now too is don't blame the virus. Don't blame. Take responsibility, right? And so I thought, you know what? I may not be sleeping enough, right? I might need more sleep. So now I don't set an alarm anymore. But on average, I usually, like this morning, I woke up at 4:30. Yesterday, I woke up at 3:30. But usually, I wake up about 4:30 or 5 is my typical wake up time.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So the other thing I was going to ask you, which is the Miracle Morning movie is coming out. So when can we expect that, and what's that going to be all about?
Yeah, so the Miracle Morning movie, a friend of mine called me. This was like 5 or 6 years ago. Nick Conadera, and he's a filmmaker, and he said, "Hal, your mission is to elevate the consciousness of humanity." He said, "Most of humanity does not read self-help books, but they watch movies." Mm-hmm. He said, "If you want to really reach the most people, you need to turn this book into a film, into a documentary." And I thought, gosh, he's right. That's a really good point. Like, if I really want to reach the most people, you can't force them to read a book if they don't read, but most people watch, television or movies. So we started filming this documentary and interviewing people around the world, world-class folks like, Robin Sharma and Layla Ali, Muhammad Ali's daughter, and Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Mel Robbins, author of 5-Second Rule, and Lewis Howes. We started interviewing all these people about their morning routines. And then halfway into the filming, like 2 years into the filming, I got diagnosed with cancer. And I called my filmmaker, our director, Nick Conadera. I said, hey, buddy, movie's on hold. Like, I'm fighting for my life. I do not know what the future holds, but this is not a priority. And him being a filmmaker, realizing that, Hal, this has been your story of this miracle morning that you're sharing around the world. This is part of the story. So instead of him putting it on hold, he came to the hospital with a camera. And he filmed, my basically the year of me fighting and beating cancer. And how I basically used the Miracle Morning. Originally it was to change my life and then to change others, but then it was to save my life. And it was powerful. So the documentary, I'm amazed at how it came out. It was supposed to be released a year ago, and it keeps getting put off. And we were about to do a theater release in April. Then coronavirus hit, so we pushed it to September. We're not sure. So the plan is we are working on when we are going to do the release. It will be this year. It will be probably an online release. I don't know about theaters right now. Yeah. But yeah. So and if you want to get on, join the Miracle Morning community, get on the email list to be able to get notified when the movie comes out. If you go to miraclemorning.com, you can opt in for a bunch of free bonuses to start your Miracle Morning journey now. And then I'll keep you in the loop on when the movie's out.
Awesome. Okay, I put that into the comments so you can go to that link. I also, I know getting your 2 books that you've got out right now, of course, the Miracle Morning and then the Miracle Equation. I'm going to put the links to those into the comments as well. And I'm just like so honored that you came on today, and so excited to have gotten to spend this time with you. And definitely when the whole COVID-19 quarantine is over with, we definitely need to get together for dinner again, because we had a great time. So would love to, and say hello to Ursula for me.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to attend Paleo Effects in July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna hold. I just keep holding that vision.
Yeah.
We're going. July is gonna happen. I'm all good. We're all ready. So anyway,
self-quarantine everyone, so that we don't spread it, and that we can put the event on in July.
Yeah, that's right. And we can show up at Paleo Effects together and hug and kiss and deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, awesome. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you, and I'm just honored that you came on. And yeah. Anyway,
mutual, Michelle. Thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. And everyone that watched or listened, thank you for being here. It means a lot.
Yes. And if you have any questions, if you're watching this on replay and you have any questions for Hal, please put them in the comments, and then I'll go back to Hal and get those answered for you. And make sure that you sign up at miraclemorning.com so that you can know about when the film's going to be released and any other things that Hal has going on. Awesome. So love you guys. Y'all have a fabulous day, and we'll see you again soon.